Over 80% of hospitals in the United States use products from this company, but it's not based in New Jersey, not in Basel, not in London. It started in a rented room in Amman in Jordan with just $1,200. This is Hikma Pharmaceuticals, a $3.1 billion generics giant quietly powering the global healthcare system with no billion-dollar patents and no celebrity CEOs. Its products are mostly generic injectables sold in over 50 countries. In fact, if you've ever been hospitalized in the US, there's a good chance a drug from this company helped treat you. So how did a small generics manufacturer from the Middle East manage to break into the most regulated, most competitive pharmaceutical market on the planet? How did it go toe-to-toe with Big Pharma without billion-dollar patents or billion-dollar ad campaigns? And what can we learn from the strategy behind its rise? The story starts in 1930 in Nablus in Palestine, where Sami Darwaza was born. In 1948, he was one of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians displaced by the Nakba, so he fled to Jordan. He eventually studied pharmacy in the United States at Purdue University, then spent over a decade working for Eli Lilly, one of America's largest pharmaceutical companies. By the late 1970s, he saw a gap. The Arab world relied almost entirely on expensive imported medicine. Sami asked a simple question: why can't we produce this ourselves? In 1978, with just $1,200 and a rented space in Jordan, he founded Hikma Pharmaceuticals. No factory, no patents, just one single goal: make high-quality medicine locally. Hikma started small with painkillers, antibiotics, and basic meds, but Sami understood something early. Trust matters more than speed in healthcare. So while other generics companies cut corners, Hikma did the opposite. They obsessed over quality. Sami invested in world-class manufacturing, clean rooms, and compliance, and it paid off. By the 1980s, Hikma became the first Arab company to get FDA approval to export to the United States, and that changed everything. Most generics companies dream of entering the US market. Hikma went a step further. They built inside it. In the early 1990s, they opened a manufacturing plant in New Jersey, but they didn't try to make everything. Instead, they specialized in one of the hardest, most critical categories: injectables. These are the drugs you get in a hospital: chemotherapy, anesthesia, antibiotics, emergency meds. They're harder to make, more tightly regulated, but also higher margin and harder to replicate. That choice would define Hikma's future. In 2005, Hikma listed on the London Stock Exchange, raising over $300 million. It became part of the FTSE 100, joining the ranks of the UK's largest publicly traded companies. While the company began in Jordan, its headquarters are now in London, operating as a British multinational with Middle Eastern origins. From that point, Hikma expanded by acquiring companies that could help it scale manufacturing, access new markets, or fill gaps in its product line. These included a US generics business from Baxter, injectable units from Boehringer Ingelheim, production sites in Germany and Portugal, and branded medicine companies in Egypt and Morocco. They also entered Ethiopia through a joint venture. The goal was not size for its own sake. Hikma used acquisitions to build capability, factories, licenses, and distribution channels. By 2024, it operated 29 manufacturing plants across 10 countries, supported by 8,800 employees. This wasn't rapid expansion, it was steady, calculated growth. When the pandemic hit, the pharmaceutical supply chain collapsed. Hospitals ran out of essential drugs and Big Pharma couldn't keep up. But Hikma could. Their injectables business in the US became critical, supplying frontline hospitals across the country. By 2021, Hikma had become one of the most important drug suppliers in American healthcare. So while the world watched vaccine headlines, Hikma quietly made sure hospitals didn't run out of what they needed to function. In 2007, Sami stepped down and handed the company to his son, Said Darwaza. But unlike many family businesses, Hikma professionalized early. They brought in external investors, diversified their board, and decentralized operations across global hubs. That balance, family values with institutional scale, allowed Hikma to keep control without becoming rigid. Hikma didn't chase flashy patents or blockbuster headlines. It didn't build its reputation through billion-dollar marketing or lobbying its way to relevance. Instead, it played the long game. It treated quality not as a checkbox, but as a competitive moat, the thing that made regulators trust them and hospitals depend on them. It focused on injectables, one of the most difficult and tightly controlled segments of the pharma industry, a niche most companies avoided, but one Hikma mastered. Its growth came not from chasing every opportunity, but from choosing the right ones. Smart, targeted acquisitions that expanded their capabilities without losing focus. It went global with intent, expanding across Europe, the Middle East and North Africa and the US, while staying deeply rooted in its origin story. Despite its global headquarters in London, Hikma has never forgotten it started in Jordan. And through it all, it kept one hand on the long-term vision, planning not for quarters, but for decades. In 2024, Hikma posted $3.1 billion in revenue and over $700 million in operating income, and it did so without ever becoming a household name. When people think of global pharmaceutical giants, they think of names like Pfizer, Roche, and Johnson & Johnson, companies that shaped the industry with massive R&D budgets and blockbuster drugs. Hikma took a different route. It didn't invent the next miracle drug. It made sure the medicine already on the market got where it was needed, on time, at scale, and with the highest standards. And that's what makes it matter. In a world where healthcare is under pressure from rising costs, supply chain shocks, and global instability, Hikma represents something else: resilience, operational excellence, and the value of building quietly but deliberately. Its story isn't about disruption, it's about endurance. And in the long run, that might be just as powerful.